you to it says you are live. Yeah, I want to welcome us. I want to welcome you all to our Sabbath welcome, Shabbat welcome.
Shabbat Shalom, Bruchim Habayim. Welcome everybody.
And
So good to see you again.
I like to remember what Nikita said. It's the congregation of the Most High.
Absolutely.
And all who worship and serve the Most High are welcome. It's going to be Hanukkah. The third candle has been lit, and again, we do this because of solidarity with our Jewish brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pretty interesting story, one that kind of facilitated the end of an age, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm certain in prophecy. Would you like to?
Yes, let's commence. Okay, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ladlik ner shel Shabbat.
So let us welcome her in the Sabbath.
We also want to say Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lehem min haaretz, and blessed are you, Yehovah our God, ruler of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. Okay, and now Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam Bori Pri Hagafen. Blessed are you, Yehovah our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine.
Oh, amen.
Amen. And welcome and thank you.
You know, it's our tradition, and you can change it. I mean, it's just a tradition to recite the Shema, because it is kind of the hallmark of our faith. Hear, O Israel, Elohim, our Elohim, Elohim is one. And you shall love Elohim, your Elohim, with all of your heart and with all of your soul, very exceedingly. And these words, which I am commanding you today, shall be upon your heart and taught incisively to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house and as you walk along the way, and when you lie down and when you rise. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as bands between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorframes of your house and your gates, because Elohim made a covenant with you in Horeb on the day of assembly. Like I always like to put out, it's in first person from God. I am commanding you. Of course, close to that is the Sabbath commandment, one which many of us agree is an unusual commandment of the religions of the world, or the faith really is what we have. Sanctify the seventh day, and you shall cease on it, because in 6 days I made the heavens and the earth, and all that is in them, and I ceased on the seventh day. Therefore you shall also cease, you and your animal, and all that is yours. I am Elohim, your Elohim. Again, in the first person, to me, this is so beautiful.
Yes,
that God spoke to us directly.
And even the animals.
I have two things about this week in history. I'm not going to read all this, but it'll be up on the Discord. In 175 BCE, this day marked the completion of the Septuagint, a translation of the Bible into Greek. And they were there in Alexandria because of Ptolemy to translate the Bible into Greek. And based on this, each stage was isolated and a separate translation was written, but they're all identical when all 72 were compared. I doubt that. That's just me. But it's interesting to know that the text of the Tanakh, of the Masoretic text that we have in the Septuagint, are not the same. And many of you spoken of this, including Ross. So the issue is it's a good comparison and things that make you say, Oh, yes. JJ said that's that. Our version of the second commandment is from the Moses Scroll. I don't know if that's any different, Ross. I hope it isn't. He's using the Moses scroll. So apparently I got an older version of Ross. Ross keeps working on it, you know. He keeps working on it.
We're here. It's only going to get better.
Yeah. I can check that, JJ. My apologies if I got an older one.
Thank you for bringing that up, though.
Yeah. Then the next one I thought was interesting. You'll see a picture. So this church was inaugurated at this time in 537 of the Common Era. Emperor Justinian I, the Hagia Sophia, as an Eastern Orthodox cathedral. We saw a lot of splitting at this time in the early Christian church. And so that's pretty much a beautiful place if you ever get to go there. It's called, of course, it's in a very Muslim territory now. Anyways, I just want to let you know that.
Did you see this in person?
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah,
before,
tell me you saw them in person.
Yeah, I got pictures of me near there. All right. So Patty's coming up with the Hebrew word of the week, but you had some other things you wanted to say, Patty.
I did?
Didn't you write them down?
I mentioned Ross's class, but I'm going to do that after my Hebrew word of the week here. Last week it was halom, which was dream, and I don't think we can make good sense of a dream without an interpreter. And so the Hebrew word today is poter. The meaning is derived from the root patar, which has several meanings: releasing, letting go, solving, or interpreting. And its usage is most often in the context of interpreting dreams or solving riddles or mysteries. And the example in tomorrow's Torah portion, I'm going to read right now from Genesis 41. Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. I myself cannot do it, Joseph replied, but God will give Pharaoh a sound answer. And I like that.
There's humility.
There's many people who claim to dream and interpret dreams and blah, 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 but only God can give a sound answer. And that's in tomorrow's Torah portion, and Ross is going to probably talk about this a lot in his class, Lord of the Dreams. So make sure you tune in tomorrow.
It sounds like a Broadway show, Lord of the Dreams. Anyways,
Who's the Irish one? Lord of the
Dance.
Lord of the Dance. Yeah, this is Lord of the Dreams.
That was an amazing thing.
Yes.
Before I went on with, we're going to do a reading today of Proverbs chapter 5. Before I went on, I wanted to say a few things. We're very interested in doing some music at the annual meeting in Jackson. And if anyone wants to do music with us, you're more than welcome to. And I hope that, people will be coming. There'll be a lot of, good meetings outside the talks that would be given. Last time, I think Ross did a great job of having the talks be just cut down a little bit and not as many talks, so that we could actually talk to one another, get on whiteboards or around a desk and
groups. One time we did
discussing things. And so I think that's really a very appropriate thing. Definitely. So we're putting together some music for that. We've done it many times. There are many great musicians that are part of United Israel World Union, which we're a part of. And so we want to promote the music part of it, because obviously the music was a big part of the Hebrew Bible. So having said that, just let us know at United Israel Northeast at gmail.com, or on you can put it on the Discord to Patty or I, because we're both on Discord.
We have a lot of time, but it's better to coordinate early while we can and figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go into the book of Proverbs. I'm going to read the first first 6 verses. Then Eric John will be reading 7 through 14, and Patty will finish the Proverbs out. When I go back and read these, probably, I'm not kidding you, in my life, this is probably, I don't know, the 20th time I've read these because they just sucked me in. And when I read them again now, it's like, wow,
I never saw that when I read it last time.
Yeah, or the meaning gets deeper. Anyways, I know a lot of you people like to read things and say exactly what it means, but I think the Proverbs go beyond that, in my personal opinion. I don't mean
I certainly feel that way too.
Yeah. So anyways, Proverbs 5, I'm using the ASV. My son, attend unto my wisdom, incline thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest preserve discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is as bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on Sheol, so that she findeth not the level path of life. Her ways are not her ways are not stable, and she knoweth it not. I'm going to get Eric up there now. I don't see it.
I think we had a discussion about, I don't know if it was this proverb or a similar one.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this having two levels of meaning as being a woman and also a false religion.
Yeah, let's talk afterwards. We're going to let Eric read now. Okay.
Just making up time later.
I got him. There he is.
Hey, Eric.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Now, therefore, my sons, hearken unto me, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house. Lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy strength, and their labors be in the house of an alien. Thou mourn at thy latter end, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed, and say, how I have hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof. Neither have I obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was well nigh in all evil, in the midst of the assembly and congregation.
Amen.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Drink waters out of your own cistern and running waters out of your own well. Should your springs be dispersed abroad and streams of water in the streets, let them be for yourself alone and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice in the wife of your youth. As a loving hind and a pleasant doe, let her breast satisfy you at all times, and be ravished always with her love. For why should you, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a foreigner? For the ways of man are before the eyes of Jehovah, and he makes level all his paths. His own iniquity shall take the wicked, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sin. He shall die for lack of instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray.
Amen.
Well, that's a somber note to end on.
Well, that certainly can be taken quite literally.
Yes, definitely.
But it could also be taken in other ways. I did a little summary slide. We don't have to go through these, but the dangers of immorality, avoiding temptation, the blessing of faithfulness, and there is the divine accountability. And you can read the rest of that on Discord if you'd like. Eric, what are your thoughts? I would like to know your thoughts. He's chewing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had to finish my challah, which is raisin oatmeal cookie.
Oh, good. Damn, that sounds good.
Homemade too.
Mm.
Yeah, I went visiting this afternoon and picked up some goodies.
Mm.
Nice.
Anyway, as I put in my note, I've been reading one a day in the order according to the calendar
Oh,
for 10 years. I don't know.
wow.
Something like that. You're it's an amazing lesson in life, really, for how to do everything that perhaps doesn't come to you naturally from the 10 words.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look through here, there's a little instruction for about everything. The curses and blessings always add a little bit of interaction with them too.
Yeah.
It sure does fit together, that's for sure. And I think the truth is in the beginning of several of them where, if you do it my way, you're going to succeed.
Yeah. I think that's a great observation to put it in summary, a synoptic response, really. I think also, though, the idea that after I read the Proverbs, and this is a long time ago, I don't want to say the 70s, but certainly by the 80s, I felt, and I think Patty felt, that one of the big issues is, like idol worship it doesn't have to be an idol of another god. It can be money. It can be materialism. It can be a thing. It could be another woman. It could be, all kinds of things that people, they grab at the brass ring for. And I think that this is true here too, with, I would say, almost this reminds, as Patty was saying, of religion. One of the things about religion, there's a, and again, I'm not trying to bash my friends, but there are a lot of seductive things about Christmas. It's truly wrapped up in something beautiful. And again, I don't judge anyone.
Well,
They decide.
Christian days are pretty much seductive like that. There's something in there
Or if you go,
that might draw you in.
if you've ever been to the Vatican or St. Patrick's Cathedral, they're amazing, and it's things that are done and like Michelangelo cutting something out of a piece of stone, one piece of stone, Jesus being held in his mother's arms, the La Pieta, I believe it's called.
La Pieta.
La Pieta. We stood 5 feet from it. I mean, it's a mind-boggling piece of art. It's seductive. Raphael and the Ascension of Jesus. You stand 10 feet away from that picture and you're like, well, this has to, there's this kind of seduction that this is the religion. And I guess for me, the strange woman is that's very strange to the Hebrew Bible, especially to the 10 and to Mount Sinai, and how I felt that the faith was originally given to us to Moses and the Shema and the Decalogue. So I feel that, and there is this thing that's temptation. Avoiding it. It's better just to stay away from a lot of it if you can't deal with it. I was recently on the Italian coast and blew my mind the wealth of these people in their boats, and you got an 80-year-old man there with 15 20-year-old girls on board cleaning it for him. I mean that's a temp that appears to be, but what is the end of that?
Right.
So that's what I I'd also wanted to add about the blessings. I think that that faith, the biggest blessing is having that faith and knowing that the Most High is with us always. And is one we can console with and is a counselor, and through his words, but also through prayer. Patty and I are praying for some people last night, and it got to the point where we kept talking about it, and we just broke out in prayer. And I'm not going to go into it, but I felt that this steadiness came to me and to Patty after praying, because that's the faith. It doesn't mean that you won't get sick. It doesn't mean that you're not going to run into problems in the world. And all the things when I first read through here is, I'm going to be really rich and I won't have a problem in the world if I just do these things. That's not what these really mean. What they really mean is the deeper meaning of these things.
That he'll be with us when we go through the trials and tribulations.
Right,
And
exactly.
And he's always by us, even unto death. And a lot of us, as you get older, you start thinking about death more. I certainly didn't in my 30s. I kind of thought I was indestructible, and now and I'm not being morbid. It's just it's going to come sooner than later, given my life. Even if Ross wants to live to 120, but at 65, that would mean that, I'd have to be 130, and that's not going to happen. But the issue is, when that day comes, I remember my dad passing, and I remember his readiness was unbelievable because he was a man of faith who gave the faith. He gave faith to my brother and I, and my mother, and then my wife, and he said. He held my hand and he said, David, pray to Jehovah that he takes me now. Wow.
He knew it was his time.
He knew it was his time. I can't think like that right now. I don't pray that Jehovah takes me to.
We still have the will and the longing to live and do things.
But he knew. And I don't think I can say this right now because it's emotional, but he more or less gave over, the rudder to me for the family.
Sure.
It was powerful.
Absolutely.
I mean,
The church.
it was passing the torch on, and it's kind of reminds me of, when Ross was talking about Isaac, and giving the blessing to the wrong guy. But the issue is, there's this time when, it's powerful. And I really have the faith personally that there is an afterlife, although the Hebrew Bible doesn't talk a lot about it. Certainly not like the Christian Bible or the Quran, but it talks about it. And as Dr. Tabor said, which I really liked, don't think that this creator created us just so that we're poof and we're gone. And that's my faith right now. And I prayed that I meet my dad and mom again, if that's a thing that can happen. If it isn't, I don't mean to, and I certainly pray that I see my son again. But I can't, do that. I also the other thing I really liked, Eric, was the personification. The personification of wisdom. To me, it's a beautiful thing. It's like it's a being. Obviously, it's not. But to me, that's another very bizarre aspect of the Book of Proverbs. That knowledge and wisdom are personified. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just the way I've come to look at the whole thing is really. I mean, it's spiritual. You can read it literally, and
Yes.
it's all right. But spiritually, when you're reading this or the other, and it's from him, you're talking to him. You're listening to him. You're obeying his instructions.
Yes.
You're not getting hit over the head with a 2x4 because you broke a commandment.
Right.
Okay, you can call them commandments, but you got to realize what it means, really.
Yes.
Let me back up. Just one thing I was going to point out is Christmas used to be a very worshipful time.
Yes.
It was changed in, I believe, the 40s when Coca-Cola put out TV ads
Yes.
and made it commercial.
Yeah.
That ruined it.
Yes.
As far as our perception now, like I think you're inferring what people do within their own selves toward whatever. It's their own
Right.
business. They're on their path.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to get to that point of
Yeah.
a personal relationship with our Heavenly Father, if we're on the right path.
Yeah. And it's a good thing that, you know, and Christmas was a part of my life till I was like 15 or 16 years old. And I remember the joy of all the people and the presents, and you know, the lights in the neighbor. We had snow. We had a white Christmas, um, and you know, it's beautiful to see all these multicolored lights in the darkest days of the year. You know, and so, like I say, there's that. But anyways, I do think it's part of the path, and my path is, you know, something that's that veered off from that. And I cannot judge anyone.
No,
You know,
I think, excuse me, I think you got onto the path instead of
Yeah.
veering off.
yeah,
Yeah.
I veered off the wide road and I went on the narrow road. What am I saying?
You were going down the highway with the rest
Yeah.
of the folk. Yeah.
And it was fun. It was a highway to
I
hell.
think a lot brought up with Christmas,
Stairway
and I
to heaven.
remember
Yeah.
being totally devastated when my parents told me that there was no such thing as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like a person had died.
Yeah.
When I don't know if anyone else had that same experience when they learned, or did they figure it out themselves? But to me, a person died when they told me that, and I was devastated.
He was a jolly old saint. Another one I remember was really upsetting for me was the first Easter Sunday that we got up. We were like 10 and my brother was 9, you know, something like that. So this is like 1969 or something. And my mom didn't get us the chocolate. And we got up and we're looking for the candy. We go to her bedroom. Mom, where's the candy? Oh, you kids are old enough not to get that. I was twisted.
You were in it for the chocolate.
I was in it for the damn chocolate bunny.
Oh my God.
God forgive
That's all
me.
we
but-
wanted. More candy,
Yeah.
chocolate especially.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Our kids never grew up with that, and so they never knew what Christmas was, and they got.
Well, they knew what it was, but we just told them
But they didn't know that was because
Right.
I lived Christmas with
Right.
a big family, and you know, saying, "Oh, this package is too light. It's got to be socks. Throw that away." You know, and
Well,
again,
I could swear that one night one Christmas Eve, I heard Santa's sleigh bells. I swore I heard them.
wow.
And it was just so ingrained in me,
Mhm.
the belief that this person existed and
Mhm.
was coming to give us presents. And
Yeah.
I was devastated when I found out that he didn't exist.
We do believe Jehovah exists, and
Exactly.
that's the
where all
power
good
of the
things come
universe.
from.
It's the power of all powers,
Right.
Yeah.
and
right.
we have with God on our side, who can be against us?
But either enjoying whatever holiday they chose to celebrate, Hanukkah, Christmas,
Festivus
Festivus. Yeah, I
for the rest of us.
hope you all are having a good
Sorry.
week.
I love that.
I know.
There's going to be the airing of the grievances.
I know.
Oh,
That was beautiful. That was genius.
that was genius. And then, like I said, I think also another related subject is the Book of Job, which I wrote a short paper on. But in the Book of Job, Job isn't doing anything wrong in his journey.
Mhm.
He's following the rules, and all this problems are put on him. And in the end, he realizes, you know, that it's not just about following the rules; it's the intent. And what I mean by that is, you could have rules, say, for equal opportunity in the government. Now, wait a minute. Now, you can go to the letter of that law and still hate the people that you're giving the equal opportunity to. So for me, it's way beyond a law that said you should be kind to everyone and be and not trust and not hang on. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to give the link to somebody and they're saying it doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay.
The YouTube link?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So anyways, the point is there's the intent, of these things. So honor your father and mother is, say, one of the Decalogue, right? And ours is kind of I had a little problem with that, not with my parents, but with parents that were bad. Murderers, pedophiles, drunks, robbers, and abusers. And as Dr. Tabor said, a better reading of the Decalogue there would be to consider heavily the things concerning your father and mother. Meaning, even if they were a bad person, they're still your parent, but you don't have to honor them because these translations, as Ross has gone through, and all of us have been through. Oh, is that what it really said? And I think that's an important aspect of understanding the deeper meaning of the commandments. One of the things that should, and it gets people upset. But when you read that, and when you read that God is one, and it is not three in one, and that gets people upset. And so my point is, there is only one, and that there couldn't be three in one. And
what about
they call it mystery and stuff like that. But I believe that there's this oneness with the Almighty. Anyways, what were we going to say?
what about considering there is all in one? Everything comes from Him.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a lot more.
When I looked at what Christianity, Judaism, and all the religions have done, even most of it may not be as nefarious as some people make it out to be.
What? I guess I didn't.
The natural human being's mind trying to explain something.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then along the way, they say, oops, wait, I know this, I can teach others, and I can make some money. So it goes south. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, it's just like looking at these creations, and I constantly look at it through music.
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to an incredible piece of music that Monteverdi wrote, 1601. And I'm thinking, let's see, how close was he to Mount Horeb compared to me? The inspiration of that man put together a piece of music with all these instruments and all these voices. It's not him, it's our Heavenly Father. He gave him the talent. He gave Michelangelo the talent to do that. And it was for good, in my opinion. I mean, you can make it bad if you want to, but I don't look at anything as being bad. It's, I think, Nachman or one of those great sages said there's no evil, there's no, how did he put it? There is no despair, evil, ugly in the world. It's all for good.
I don't know. I've seen some things that are pretty evil, so I'd have to disagree with you on that, but that's just me.
They are evil, Dave.
Yeah.
But there is a higher reason.
Oh, yes.
For that to be there.
We're not able to even understand or assess that level.
Right. I mean, it's like what's going on right now. There's a very good reason for it.
Amen.
It's all for our good. It's all for our good.
Yeah. I also think that if we're given enough time on this earth, even if we're given a small amount of time, when we read something as a 10-year-old, and then a 20 and a 30 and a 40 and a 50, 60, 70, and as we go up in years, these the depth at which we perceive what is God's trying to say, we should be elevating our understanding. And I see that in my life, to try to remain stoic about certain things. I mean, I talk closely with my wife about things that aren't so stoic. You know, I
He's
mean,
not always stoic.
I'm not always stoic, but I think, you know, when I hear things, I try to wait it all out to see what's really happening. And you know, sometimes my mind doesn't change, but sometimes it does change when I'm listening to something that's, you know, people discussing things. And unfortunately, emotions can, you know, cloud the way or the view that you should have on a certain, you know, situation. It's hard to become, you know, just logical about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I have emotions about trying to help people, for instance. You know, in upstate New York right now, it's extremely cold, and you know, people lose their heat or they don't have food. I'm good. Don't have food and those kinds of things. Just trying to get those minimal things for these people, to me, is trying to live Torah, trying to live the Decalogue. You know, because it's really sometimes when it's -4, -10 degrees, like it was the other day, and you walk in and your home is 65 degrees. Patty tries to push it up. So, wait, she's not here. She tries to push it up higher than that. But 65 degrees, you're like, it's such a blessing to just walk in the house and, you know, counting your blessings and understanding what they are and not looking beyond them like they're worthless. You know, that's something for me, you know, as I was growing up, you know, you want more and more and more and more. And now I want less and less and less and less when it comes to the material goods in the world. And I want to do something like, you know, hold the Moses scroll in my hand before I pass. That to me, and not to keep it. I don't want it. I want it to be studied by the great scholars. And if it's real, I'd like it to be put in an Israeli museum. I don't know. Ross has thoughts about that. But just to say, I held this piece, or I found this piece, and it's something that to me is extremely important. And the other issue is, you know, what I love is the fact that we can all have different points of view. I'm sure there's some people left, they might not be agreeing with what I'm saying, and that's cool. But like, we all have different points of view about certain aspects of faith because we're at different levels. And
Exactly.
and it's one of those things where I like hearing someone like you know, Karen come in and say what she says, or Nikita or Julia or Clody. You know, Betty's always got something to say. I'm surprised she's not raising her hand tonight. Hey, Betty. Happy Hanukkah. And, you know, all these people here have great things to say. And I feel, you know, it's not just Ross or James Tabor. All of us have amazing things to say. And another thing is, I guess it's the point of view issue that you can't see the point of view of someone else fully. You can try to understand that point of view, but you know, when you realize what they've been through in their life, really bad things. You
And
know,
Dave, I think
Yeah.
you'll see this too as you gracefully age, because you're not old yet, believe me.
yeah, yeah,
But you start seeing other people's perspective. And if you're at least somewhat attuned to things, you learn to keep your mouth shut and listen.
yeah,
Just listen, Shema. Listen and understand what they're
sure,
saying, where they're coming from. It took me
yeah,
40 years to get to the point where he even reveal himself to me.
yeah. Oh,
Me a
amen.
you know?
But you were a mature person.
And I don't regret one thing.
No,
To go
no,
through it. I had to go through
yeah,
it.
we all do. I remember when we went down to listen to Cody. Clody, excuse me, when we saw the Decalogue stone, just hearing her whole life and where she came from and what she does, it's so foreign from what I came from or Patty. Patty and I are two different, Patty was adopted and she lived with parents who both died by the time she was 18. And, it's a different life. But we're all drawn to this Torah, especially the Decalogue, and to the Shema, and to this Yehovah, the Elohim of Elohim. So I agree. I want to appreciate you. Say thank you for reading. I see Betty wants to talk, and next week we're going to be doing Proverbs 6. So again, Eric has said he would read every week if he needed to. So if any of you want to read, just let me know. And I know we had JJ, we've had Clody, and there can be repeats. Don't worry about it. It's just we love talking about these things, and it gets us off on a good decision.
It gives us practice too, to keep up our reading skills.
Yeah.
Right. As you heard, I stumble a couple times, and I don't know how I can do that when I've read it.
Oh no, you didn't stumble. I didn't hear that.
It's good practice.
Peculiar.
And it helps the gray matter.
Yeah. Sticky says, I often wish I could talk to my parents again with my current mindset, but no, I had to be a zealot. Okay.
Yeah, I think we all wish that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there, brother, but I'm sorry about that. I guess Sticky is a man. He has a hat on. It looks like a male.
Mustache.
A mustache, yeah. So my point is, I wish I could go back and talk to people differently too, but parents are a big deal. I get that. That's a really big deal. And anyways, do we have Betty up here, Ellie Shiva? Your mute's on, Ellie Shiva. Betty, your mute's on.
Here we go. I think
There
it's
you
off.
go. Shabbat shalom.
Well,
Hag
Shabbat shalom and happy Hanukkah. I was going to just listen tonight, but you kind of
We called you out.
did. So anyway, I started to say shame on you, but that wouldn't be very nice.
So it's okay.
You can
Anyway.
say that. You're my older sister, so you,
Yes.
even though we're both senior citizens, you're my older
Yes.
sister.
I am
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
your older
It's
sister.
younger
I'm
people
also
I don't want shaming. I don't want raw shaming. Maybe
also, Clody's
junior.
older sister, but she calls me her big sister. I like that better than older, but it's
Yeah.
okay. Um,
Yes.
Anyway, regarding just two things regarding what Eric was saying about music.
Yeah.
I think, and if anybody knows where this quote comes from, please let me know. It's one of my favorites, that music is the language of the soul. You know
I
how
love
music,
Yes.
and I know you two, and the others of you who sing
Yeah.
and love music know that that's true, because the music just goes inside you, and you just want to burst when you hear it. It's just beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It sometimes
no.
can't be
I agree.
expressed, right?
No, I agree.
So I had read something, and this was years and years ago, and it was just an opinion, a thought, a perhaps, and I don't know if it's true, but it's interesting to think about it. And that is that when Jehovah, the force of all forces, El Elyon, Hashem, our God and Creator, created the earth. I mean,
Yeah.
it says it was null and void and without form, and water was on the face of the deep. And then it says the Spirit moved across the face of the water. But I've read, and I can't remember, I think, Patty, you've mentioned this before, the Hebrew word, and I don't have my Bible with me right now, the Hebrew word can indicate like hovering or vibrating or something like that, right, Patty?
Me, and that it might have been some sort of musical sound that was part of
Yes.
the
That's exactly that's what I read. And then one of my friends years ago said that she believes that the world that he used music to create the world, the vibrations and the music. And maybe
And
that is why
oddly enough,
it's
we have
the
string
language
theory
of
now.
the soul. Pardon?
Yeah, oddly enough, we have string theory now, which means the
Right.
smallest element are strings vibrating. I mean, it's not been proven, but that's one of the. So to get at the theory of everything, they think it's strings, and they vibrate at different frequencies and cause us to
Right.
have different elements to be created. Again, I don't want to get into my.
Exactly.
Some people
Well, to
really don't.
me, I guess to me that is mind blowing. I think about it a lot. And years ago, when one of my little grandsons was very ill and we thought he would die,
Mhm.
but thank God, Baruch Hashem, this one made it. The other one didn't. But
Yeah.
my friend was sharing this theory with me about music. And she said that she believes the world was created with a song, with music,
Mhm.
and that what we need to pray for him is that somehow his individual song or whatever it was got off key. And we need to pray that the original song will be restored the way
Yeah.
God made him. And
Yeah,
I thought, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so,
I got something I wanted to read to you.
yes.
Bertold Auerbach, a German poet, it was the first one to state, music washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. That's really a beautiful way of putting it.
Would you
I will. I'll send it to you.
yeah, I love it. I do. I love it.
Yeah.
And my little puppy is acting up right now. But the only other thing, and this will be very quick, is that
No.
years and years and years ago, when Roger and I celebrated our first Hanukkah, and
Yeah.
my girls grew up with Christmas, they didn't know, but we invited them over, and there was no tree, and we all sat around the table. I think they thought, "Whoa!" I mean, I told them, but I don't think they really understood
Right.
that we had a Hanukkah on the table. And I explained to them what we were going to do and what the message was basically about Hanukkah.
Yeah.
And my youngest daughter
Yeah.
at the time was pregnant. She was probably about 5 months and had
Mhm.
cervical cancer. And the doctors said that there was nothing they could do until she delivered the baby. And then she would have to wait about 6 weeks
Wow.
for a surgical procedure. Well, so I said, Hanukkah has been a time of miracles. So it seems like it would be a good thing for us to join hands and pray together for Amy that God would give her a miracle and heal her body. And anyway, after the baby was born, she had the surgery about 6 weeks later. The doctor came and his head was down. And he said, I'm just so sorry. We're just not sure if we got a clean border. We had a hard time stitching her up. Her tissue was like toilet paper. And, so I just can't promise. But it wasn't but a few weeks later that they did a biopsy. It came back with all of that tissue that the doctor said just was awful. And there was no cancer. So
Yeah.
to me, Hanukkah is a time of remembering and healing and miracles and just mighty things that our God has done. And Amy too. I mean, along the same time, got what she calls a word, a waking vision, where God told her that she was going to be well, that she was going to be healed. So anyway, that's a very moving, very moving story for me to retell. And anyway, thank you for letting me share it.
Hey, well, Shabbat Shalom, buddy. It's so nice to have you here, and for all of us to be able to talk for a little time on the Shabbat and during this special time of Hanukkah, as
Yes.
it kind of really shaped the difference between BCE and CE is really was really the Maccabeans really did a lot of amazing things. By the way,
They did.
one of my favorite classical pieces is Beethoven's Ninth, the Ode to Joy. And to me, when I've seen that performed live only once in my life, it was draining. It was just so powerful. And the tones and everything and what Beethoven means to me.
And some people think that these musical frequencies
Right.
have healing properties to them, and that's
Yeah.
something I'd like to look into further myself.
Yeah, Libby was saying about that when people, that's the last thing you can do is have music. All right.
Thank you, Miss
Did you
Betty.
get up there? Okay.
Hey.
Shabbat Shalom,
You
buddy.
are welcome. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
And Clody. How's Clody doing?
I'm good. How are you? Shabbat Shalom.
Mm.
So
What's
I
going-
had some things to share and now I forgot them all.
Oh, write them down when you get old. Yeah, I see. I write on this paper because
Uh, it was a long week. No, actually, I loved what Betty said about the music and how perhaps everybody has the music has its own music. Every person.
yeah,
It was mind-boggling to me because I had today a moment I was at the doctor's office by myself, and the mailman came,
yes,
and I didn't understand that he came in, and we only understood each other's presence when we were really, really near. You understand? It was like we were physically there, but both of us, my mind was somewhere else, and his mind was somewhere else. So we were like, wow, and I was starting to think I was really really scared, and he understood that we got scared simultaneously from the presence of each other. And
Wow.
I thought it's weird how we think that we are physical beings
sure,
while he wasn't here now.
yeah,
He just came when he knew that he had to take the envelopes.
yeah,
So it was something like, okay, I mean, it was something like a proof
yeah,
for me. I sensed how we are not only physical beings.
yeah,
Right.
It was
Spiritual.
mind-boggling, and with Betty saying this that we perhaps her grandson lost the proper key of the
yeah,
of his music, or how people say, I don't know if this is scientifically proven, but they say that every planet has got its own sound. I don't know if that's true.
Yes.
yes.
That too. And the earth has a frequency. I've read those things
Hey,
too.
sand dunes have frequencies, and when the wind blows, if you're in a big desert, I don't know if you've ever been, it's the size of the grain, the height of the sand dune, the humidity and the temperature, and the type of sand grain that it is. They have different frequencies.
Well, I people were putting little instruments on plants and saying that they emit frequencies. And it's just mind-boggling if you, like you said, if you can look at these things deeper.
yeah, there's
Yep.
something.
in there.
To all living things, all life has something in it. You know?
And I always think that music is something like very very sacred,
Yeah.
because it helps us praise God, and
Mhm.
and it was used apparently, as we read in Tanakh, for
Mhm.
prophesying.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's another big thing about music, and perhaps that's what we miss from the Psalms. So one of my dream projects of for United Israel, or for Horeb Institute, would be
Yeah.
some albums, some music albums from you, Patty, from somebody.
Yeah.
Like we revive the Psalms with music again.
Yeah. Amen.
Thank you for bringing that
Yeah.
up. And
I
we need
would
a little.
love if we would have done that.
Okay, we're going to be adding it to our Shabbats too in the near future. We need to
Beautiful.
upgrade the studio,
Yeah.
and we're going to get going on that too. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's-
the last thing I wanted
Sure.
is, when as you were reading the proverb today,
Yeah.
I was all of the all of the chapter was reminding me of the law. Do not desire. I don't remember it in English. My English is,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So don't desire your neighbor's wife, or
Well,
your neighbor.
it said don't. It says here, the lips
Don't
of a
covet.
strange woman, lips of a strange woman drop honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil.
Yeah. No, I mean the parallel of this proverb is one of the
Yes.
Commandments.
commandments.
Yeah.
Yes, not to
You shall
covet.
not desire your neighbor's woman. You shall
Yeah.
not desire his servant, his maidservant, or anything that is his. And what
Right.
I'm thinking is like, I was thinking that perhaps the Proverbs, as the Psalms, perhaps were some kind of a commentary or a podcast, like we are doing anytime on the
Yeah.
command.
Yeah.
That is a great.
Oh yeah. This yeah. It said here, it says, for why shouldest thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a foreigner? For the ways of man are before the eyes of Jehovah, and he make level all paths. That's pretty powerful. The Most High makes level all paths.
Is it almost like a commentary on
Yeah.
the commandment?
It is.
Covet.
It is. And another thing about that covet commandment, I see people wanting, because of TikTok and so forth, they want to be, I don't want to name names, but like say a Kardashian,
Mhm.
they don't want to be themselves. And I always felt that I should be the best David Tyler that I could be.
Me too.
And I don't need to be someone else. And anyways,
Your parents did a good job, Dave.
Yeah, they tried.
Because sometimes some parents don't know how to direct the kid, and the kids know that they should have a role model, and they try to find a role model in a world where their parents are absent, or
Amen.
the proper role models do not exist.
No,
How much the proper worshiping of God.
that is correct.
True, Claudia. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that is.
Okay.
All right.
These were
We're gonna
my little thoughts. Thank you.
No,
Shabbat shalom.
they're big thoughts. They're big thoughts, Claudia. All right.
Thank you.
Eric wants to get up there.
Righty.
Eric John Nagel.
EJ.
EJ.
Thanks, EJ.
EJ the DJ. You know who that was? Do you know who was called EJ the DJ?
You made that up.
No.
Who was it?
Elton John.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he was in the 70s, like 75. They called him EJ the DJ because he wrote so many hit records.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be a senior citizen, Pat. You're not a senior.
You're EJ.
Yeah, you're not a senior citizen yet, Patty. You didn't know these
No, I'm
things.
much younger than you.
Yes,
I think your mute is on.
your mute's on there, EJ. EJ the DJ. Your mouth is moving, but I can't. There you go.
There we go.
Back to music because you can't get me out of music or music out of me.
Okay.
As far as a whole lot of pieces, but one in particular that you mentioned, Dave, you should sit on the stage playing cello in the middle of that orchestra for Beethoven's Ninth Symphony.
I'm not. They don't have guitar parts.
I had religious, forgive the term, experiences from the time I started playing cello in third grade all the way through till today.
Oh my God.
But it is a scientific, medical, whatever
Yeah.
fact that music, just listening to it, not even making it or trying to imitate it, just listening uses more parts of the brain than anything else you can do in your lifetime.
I believe that.
I believe that, and
All at once.
I'm a very big Beethoven fan. I mean, there's a lot of good things, but Mozart seems too poppy to me. Beethoven was very serious. There's a lot of great artists. I don't mean to pick any out, one over the other, but I want to tell you one story about the Ninth Symphony that I heard a woman talking about years ago, probably 30 years ago. So this woman played like a cello or one of the stringed instruments in the New York Philharmonic.
Yes.
And they played Beethoven's Ninth many times. And so they practiced really intently. And she was pregnant. And she didn't know she was pregnant. And as obviously the more pregnant she got, she had to, say, I got to take a break. Well, she meets, another orchestra, and they want her to go out to like Kansas City, where they're not doing Beethoven necessarily. And so she goes out there, and they don't make much money because New York was a big dollar one. And long story short, she didn't even have a record player anymore. And one day, her boy, her son who was born, was in the sandbox. And he didn't know anything about music. The dad wasn't a musician. And she hears him going, na 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 na. And she's like, what? She goes out there, and he could like recite most of the entire first part of the symphony. And she used to put her headphones on her belly, and that transmitted through to his brain. He could not speak at that time, but he could hear music, and he was humming it in the sandbox one day.
Oh,
And
that's amazing.
it's an incredible story.
Look it up.
And I'm not going to get into this, but I mean, is that not a human in the belly?
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, is that not a human in that belly? I know people.
I would imagine part of my idea is from that, because both of my parents, that's all they listened to was classical music.
Yeah.
Mother sang choir. My dad was an aspiring, I think he tried to play double bass or something when I was in elementary, but if he had a break, he was in the record store listening in that little cubicle.
Yeah.
To whatever, because he couldn't afford them.
Yeah.
And so all that was transferred to me, just like
Yeah.
all the other stuff that I've learned from my genealogy.
That's an amazing thing. My dad was a guitar player, a steel guitar player, and he listened to all the guitar players. When I grew up, I heard everybody like Chet Atkins and Roy Clark and Chuck Berry he liked, B.B. King he liked.
I think my mother listened to Led Zeppelin.
No, she didn't. And when I grew up, I really liked guitar players, and my dad took me to see some of them, and also musicians that would do improvisation, like Ella Fitzgerald. I got to go see her do the scat thing. I don't know if I mean, it was just amazing. And I saw in an interview they said to her, "Why'd you start scat?" And she goes, "I forgot the lyrics." So I just started singing the notes, and literally, and and to go see her in her prime, or BB King, or some of the greats, Chet Atkins and the Nashville Brass. He came with a brass band.
Those people had talent.
Yeah, and I got to see him, like Glenn Campbell, just amazing, sing and play the guitar. Roy Clark couldn't sing so well, in my opinion, but he could play that darn guitar and any other stringed instrument, And my dad had me listening to the Lightning Fingers of Roy Clark in 1962.
So I think our goal is we're going to have some kind of song here next Friday.
Oh, well,
even if it's just an acoustic.
You speak, Patty,
Well,
for
we're
yourself.
going to keep this rolling again, and I think
That's okay.
Time.
All right.
Time.
Nikita wants to come up. Eric, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Shabbat. All right, we're trying to get Nikita up there. We see her up there. Nikita?
Shabbat shalom, my people.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, great! You can hear me. I was good till you said started picking up the instruments, and the beginning of "The Thrill Is Gone" by BB King is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It made me think of my mother because she was a big blues, as I am, a big blues person, and I used to be, when I heard it, it was a mix of emotions. It was like fear and love, and it was just so much within those chords that he played that I guess y'all know when we get off this call, I'll be listening to it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
James, that was she one that last.
Oh yeah.
At last, I love that.
So I got to just tell you one quick Etta James story, okay, Nikita? Because
give it to me.
Patty just mentioned it. So I was working on a satellite out in Los Angeles, and I would go to the House of Blues, like 1 or 2 nights a week, because I'd be there for like 2 weeks, and Etta James is playing, at the House of Blues. And it wasn't a packed audience, but she sang, and she of course you wait till the end to hear it last. So then
she played it last.
She did, and I'm going to be real honest with you. So then I go to the bar and I go, can I have some whiskey on the rocks? And so I set it down, and she comes up, standing next to me, staring at me, and she goes, "What are you drinking?" And I said, "I'm drinking some Jack on the Rocks." She goes, "I'll have one of those." And I said to the bartender, "I'll buy that." And we sat there for like an hour and just talked about life, about, all the stuff that happened. It was Etta James, and, she was a big girl. And, and it was just amazing. Nobody came around to bother us, and just me and her and the bartender. And the bartender didn't even really know who she was, in terms of, he knew she just sang and she was great, but it wasn't like, he didn't know that, my God, at last, it was one of those things. And it's just one of those nights that, you can't pay for, and it just never happened again. But what a sweetheart. She was so nice, and talked and bought me a drink. And then I had to get the cab back and all that. But that was just, probably 1993 or something like that. But it was one of those, because you go and you see these things and you just don't know. Like, is it the last time you see BB King, or because they're getting old. A lot of them are getting old. And my dad, and I liked Albert King. I liked a lot of the Louisiana and Mississippi, New Orleans, but the Mississippi Delta sound.
The Delta.
It was like the creation of rock and roll, and so much stuff came out of that
that era.
You know, and so, you know, and the ladies that started it, you know, there was some great lady blues players that people don't realize, you know, and I just love to listen to it. And it's, I guess it's authenticity that brings me to it.
And the soul.
It's the soul. It's very authentic.
Yes.
Yeah, so
It's the pain and the struggle, and we all can relate to that in some form or another. You know, some of us have life pain, some of us have other struggles with, you know, family members, anything is and that's what's so great about the Torah and the Tanakh and the righteousness of the Most High. The Creator links us all together because regardless of male, female, black, white, regardless of those situations, we all feel those emotions. We all feel that love. We all have parents. We all have children. We all have those relationships that can build with love. And then when you get music involved and it plays with those harmonies and you get those high crescendos and those deep depths of feeling. And then when you have a wonderful voice that can interpret that, if the lyrics meet really well with everything that you're hearing,
yes,
it's a symphony of joy. Like you were saying with Ode to Joy, it's a symphony of life.
Yeah,
amen.
it is.
I was listening to the Righteous Brothers the other day. They were singing Unchained Melody.
Oh, God.
We used to do this song.
Yeah. You did?
No, we did.
What, Unchained Melody? That
12 fingers, I think.
yeah, that song is like,
maybe karaoke.
yeah, it was karaoke for you, hon. Did you know Sister Rosetta Tharpe?
Yes, I did.
I mean, that woman, I mean, she could just grab the guitar and, you know, I don't know, because she was a black woman from before B.B. King, probably. No one understood just how great she was, but I downloaded it, you know, a bunch of her music, and I'm like, what? Because no radio station ever played it, and it's just amazing that woman could really, you know, I mean, she came after Robert Johnson, but I don't want to get into all that stuff. But we was down there on Highway 61. That's where Ross lives. We're going to the crossroads. No, I'm only kidding. Don't say anything. You're going to crossroads. Hey, Dave Cole and I went to the crossroads. Anyways, Highway 61 goes right by Ross's house. And you know, that's the blues highway. Anyways, yeah, I think that music in it, you know, and I listen to this old music. My dad listened to, my mom listened to. I think of them. So just like in the room with me.
I think we need to have well, hopefully it'll be a we if I can make it. I think there needs to be like a night or some time during the conference where we can have like if not like an old sock hop, or like a social event where we can just enjoy some music, some sounds, and have just conversation about the past that we've come through, and it just explodes with, you know, the love for one another and where we are now.
Amen. Amen, sister. I like that because it connects us. You know, Ross is a great music fan, and Dr. Tabor is, Ralph Bunton. I mean, we all have, and we have a lot of common, but there's different, and listening to different music, you know, so there was, there's a place close to Ross's where the Coles took me.
Yeah, I remember. What was that? A really old blues place.
It was this old blues place. And a juke joint is called.
A juke joint, yeah.
So there's a DJ in there. It's very, very black in its background. So they take me there, and I play the guitar and I play the blues, and there's this band playing, and Dave goes up and says, "Hey, Dave Tyler wants to play with you. He's from New York. He's famous," which I'm not. I'm infamous, but I'm not famous. And I go, "Well, I didn't bring my guitar." And so the DJ running the talk in the juke joint says, "I got a guitar here." So he gives me this beautiful Gibson, and I'm tuning it up. It's in beautiful shape. And I said, "Where'd y'all get this?" And they said, "That was Albert King's guitar." And I'm going,
"Whoa!"
playing his guitar, and then they're playing along and singing, and all of a sudden they go, and our New York friend's going to play a little bit for us, and of course I could just fit right into that, you know.
Visit this juke joint when we all meet up.
Ross said it's called Freddy's. Yeah,
right.
And we went there, and I got to play the blues with this band, and I mean, it was just, and you know, you fit in. You have no color at that point. You're just a human being with them.
So you're just souls.
You're just being in the souls.
Yes.
And they let me go on and on. They're like, man, play it, because I rocked it up a little more than they would have, you know, because I have the rock blood in me too, you know, because I love Chuck Berry and Billy Haley and the Comets and all those bands going up. Anyways, I'm glad that we got into this discussion, Nikita, and y'all got
it's a beautiful
to show.
thing. Like Patty was saying, the soul has no color, and once people realize that, then everybody would be able to get along. It's just some of the labels were created in order to bring wickedness upon them on the label itself. So, you know, the Most High was like, well, you know, I got to give this body, this soul I have a body. But it was not him, but those with nefarious purposes that saw a reason to try to pit us against one another for whatever reason, for all of our labels. You know, men against women, boys against girls, you know, all the various diversities and colors against the other, the various diversities and colors, when there's no reason for it.
No. There's no way
when I see someone that's different from me, I think of the Most High's paintbrush. I'm like, look at that. Yeah. Wow. That's a beautiful height. That's a beautiful color.
He paints in all colors. He doesn't, we cannot restrict the Most High's color palette. He paints in all colors.
Should we want to restrict him? Let him be free with his creativeness and let us enjoy it.
Yes, I agree. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing to see all the different cultures. When you go around the world, you see these different cultures, and there's so much to those cultures, and they have such a history.
And they all have different yummy food.
They It's hungry. You've been fasting again.
The music and the food is also such a blessing, and it keeps the diversity.
It is, and it's a good time for all of us because we can share those things. And you know how a song also, especially in America, it comes out, say it came out in 1972, and you hear that song and it brings you right back. I mean, it's a recall. It reaches into the soul and says, remember this was going on at that time.
It takes you back in time, really.
Exactly.
To that place.
And the people I met, and you know, I didn't mean to meet all those hippies, but I went to a Grateful Dead conference. I wasn't a Grateful Dead fan, but I went to the 1977 show in Cornell University, and we went in. It was in the middle of May. We went in, and it was kind of a nice night. I had a Volkswagen Beetle. Went in with my buddy Mike, who drugged me there, Mikey Rossi. And then when we come out, there's 8 inches of snow. And you want to talk about
panic
at the disco. Forgive me, Lord. And then I ended up, just walking in my sneakers to a house that they let me sleep on their couch because there was no. And you meet all these different people, and it's just amazing to, it's not always great, but saw a lot of great people, and man, I feel blessed to have lived like this much of my life, and music is a big part of that. It's how I met Patty.
And we'll keep on working on this, getting some music involved.
My good friend was dating Patty, and he said, "You got to hear my girl sing." I go, "Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm looking for my own girl." And then she comes over, and first song she sings, we're like, "You want to be in the band?" And then
that was history.
We don't see him anymore. That was 40. It's going to be 44 years in February.
Southern lady says, "Rock on, Dave."
Yeah. Well, it is. Hey, music is alive. It's a live thing, and I believe that God put it on this earth.
But doors
It
to
does.
different areas in life and
Yeah.
meet different people because of it. And I think it's
Yeah.
such a good tool.
Well, like Eric was saying, it speaks to your whole mind. You get involved in it,
Right,
and
your soul and your emotions.
Yeah.
It speaks to your emotions.
when I'm writing a technical proposal, I like classical music.
Mhm.
When I want to relax, I like listening to some rhythm and blues or jazz, or if I want to have a good time, I might listen to more rocky stuff. And
Definitely.
if I want to cry, I listen to country. Oh, man.
I don't have a sound for crying because I rarely do it. Even if I'm crying because of joy, I'm listening to
Yeah.
something generally instrumental. I like something instrumental so I can put my
Yeah.
own words of emotion to
There
it.
you go. I hear you. Yeah. Yep. And then, but there's some people with their voices, they just start singing. One of my favorites was Marvin Gaye. And just when I know he had a lot of issues, please.
And
But
Sam Cooke, yeah.
Sam Cooke, I remember BJ Thomas, just to hear the voice.
Yeah.
He could sing Happy Birthday
Mhm.
and all that stuff. And there's these people that the time I saw Elton John, just amazing voice, and all these different people. Diana Ross, amazing voice live. Of course, Karen Carpenter.
Oh my gosh. Listen
Barbra
to
Streisand. Oh, there's so many great singers. God's heard them all. There's a lot. You go to these little karaoke bar in some state, and there'll be some woman or man that gets up there, and they're just like
nailing it.
they're amazing, and no one
Yes.
knows who they are because they didn't get their chance or whatever. What do you do? Well, I'm a science teacher. Man, you should have went into music business because
If they can bring a moment of joy to somebody that night.
yeah, or themselves. Singing yourself is
Yes.
a big, powerful thing, right? And
Yes.
and Sticky Peculiar likes Karen Carpenter as a drummer.
Oh yeah, she was fabulous as
yeah.
a drummer.
Yeah, I like Sheila E. as a drummer, but that's another whole story.
I like Neil Peart.
Yeah, Neil Peart.
No.
Yeah, I met him many times. He's dead now.
Southern Lady loves all music. I do too.
I do too. I don't like music genres. I just like individual songs. And so it doesn't matter where it came from. If I like it,
Yes.
That's like saying you like one color. You like so many colors and different flavors.
Who knows why I like the Jelly Roll? Because he sang this song, I'm Not Okay, and that's how I felt at the time.
Right.
And it spoke to me. I don't know why. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? The role, he impacted me. And he did another song, Long-Haired Son of a Sinner Man. That's me. No, and there's other people that just they show up and they have a song or one or two, or some people have many. My mother listened to Frank Sinatra all the time, and I know every Frank Sinatra song. I mean, if there's 48 Frank Sinatra songs on a 4-album set, I'll probably know 39 of them.
Well, I just saw that Bob Dylan had 40 albums, not 40 songs, 40 albums.
Well, yeah.
I couldn't.
He was a
believe
prolific
it.
songwriter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
But
and
it's
and these people wrote.
he's amazing.
Yeah, they were. Remember when Ed Bradley was interviewing Bob Dylan, and he said, in this short amount of time, you wrote like 20 songs that we know today. He goes, how did you do that? And Bob Dylan said, I don't know who did that. That was another man, not me.
Wow.
And so I mean, then when the muse comes, when the spirit of the Elohim comes into you, you can do amazing things in a short amount of time, and it doesn't always show up.
Right.
No matter what you're doing, it doesn't always show up, and sometimes you have a hard time doing your job and so forth. But anyways, Nikita, I hope that you come to Jackson if it's possible. I know there's there's issues, but
we would love to see you in person.
We love to see all these people that show up here.
Yes.
Because maybe you have a different name like Sticky, or I know Clody. And I met JJ. I met, of course, EJ, Morgan. Don't think I met Libby. Julie, I'd like to meet. Carol, Michael G, I don't think I've met. Marianne, don't think I met. Eric, the other Eric. And there's a lot of other people that are on in the Zoom call that I'd like to meet too. And
definitely.
Just
it's gonna be big. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah, well, it'd be good. And I know that Ross and Seth have worked so hard.
On the new place.
Yeah, and I kind of want to end with that. Before we say our final prayer, Seth and Ross have done so much to improve. The Torah Pearls on Thursday night were it's just amazing, and no one seems to watch that as much. But that is so powerful.
So it just has to get going, and
it's very powerful discussion.
Right, and I think we can all be a part in this. We can share the link to our friends or other people who you think might be interested. Invite them to a class or share Torah Pearls link with them, and maybe we could reach out and get some other people coming.
Yeah, and the whole blessing for Ross has been Seth. He just came in and said, "Dad, you got to change the game," and not about what Ross was saying, but it was about the way it was presented,
the production,
and it's tough.
Technology to it all is really just made it so modern,
and if you look at a normal podcast, they have 15 people producing it, and it's just Ross and Seth. I mean, that's a mind boggle to me that they're that good. So I always try to support Seth and Ross, and I always pray for them that the good word continues to come out because it's such great analysis and discussion on the Torah that the Most High gave us. So I'm going to end it right now with our normal final prayer from the book of Numbers. And I want to say, may Jehovah bless you and keep you. Jehovah make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Jehovah turn his face towards you and give you peace. So Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 Central.